There is a high alert in France after what Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso just ordered. Military advisors are scrambling, diplomatic cables are flying, intelligence analysts are running simulations. Why? Because this isn't just another headline from the Sahel. It's a direct threat to 200 years of Western control over Africa, and it came from a man they once dismissed as a rebel in fatigues. Now, that rebel has just triggered a chain reaction that could rip apart France's grip on West Africa, shatter the illusion of Western supremacy, and redraw alliances across the entire global South. But what exactly did he do? And why is the West panicking like it's 1958 all over again? In this video, let's find out. For decades, the West dressed its control in the language of diplomacy. France wasn't an occupier. It was a so-called partner. The IMF wasn't a creditor. It was a helper. And the military bases weren't occupation forces. They were peacekeepers. But strip away the PR gloss, and what stood behind the curtain was cold, calculated control. In Burkina Faso, this partnership meant watching towns like Djibo and Arbinda fall, while French bases sat within reach. Anti-insurgent operations became endless loops of vague objectives and zero accountability. Locals grew suspicious. How could insurgents operate so freely near high-tech Western outposts unless someone was benefiting? At the heart of the trap was the CFA franc, a currency supposedly built for stability, but in practice engineered for dependency. Burkina Faso's gold flowed out. Its purchasing power was dictated in Paris. Its budgetary decisions were reviewed in Brussels. Development loans? Ticking time bombs. Projects like highways and irrigation systems were handed over to foreign contractors, with debt repayments attached to every shovel of dirt moved. When these projects failed or were sabotaged by instability, Burkina Faso still paid the bill, with interest. Resistance was punished in quiet ways. A defiant minister would find themselves replaced after a wave of protests. A reformist budget would be rejected under the guise of fiscal responsibility. And if a leader got too bold, diplomatic isolation followed, or worse. The generation raised under these rules wasn't confused. When they waved Russian flags, it wasn't because they wanted a new master. It was because the old one had overstayed its welcome. And when they shouted in the streets, they weren't calling for revolution. They were calling for release. And Ibrahim Traoré delivered that. What Captain Ibrahim Traoré did wasn't just political. It was psychological warfare against an entire system of dominance. By expelling French troops and freezing military cooperation, he cut a power line that had fed Western control for decades. When he denounced the CFA franc, he challenged a currency more sacred to Paris than any flag. When he turned his back on ECOWAS, he didn't just leave a regional bloc. He exposed it as a proxy, and he did it all without blinking. The formation of the Alliance of Sahel States, a tripartite pact with Mali and Niger, was not merely a reaction to coups. It was a vision. It told the world, we can govern ourselves. We will secure ourselves. We will trade among ourselves. The West watched, stunned, as the very states it had once molded into models of obedience now talked of regional autonomy and collective sovereignty. What frightened them was not Traoré's rhetoric. It was the calm confidence with which he delivered it. He didn't demand assistance. He didn't seek validation. He stated facts. And that terrifies empires. Because a man who doesn't beg cannot be bribed. A man who doesn't flinch cannot be broken. The trap of partnership had been exposed, and in Traoré, the West saw not just a rebel, but a contagion, one that could inspire others. With the illusion of Western partnership shattered, Captain Ibrahim Traoré didn't panic. He pivoted, not blindly, not recklessly, but deliberately, and his gaze turned east toward BRICS. But this wasn't desperation. It was a strategy. BRICS, a coalition born from the Global South's hunger for dignity, offered something the West never truly allowed: equal footing. While Paris and Washington issued lectures wrapped in loans, BRICS extended a hand wrapped in negotiation. The difference was not just in language, it was in power dynamics. The new development bank didn't arrive demanding austerity and privatization. It spoke of financing for development, not surveillance. China and India weren't interested in reshaping Burkina Faso's politics. They wanted trade, gold, cotton, cashews, and lithium. Russia, already coordinating with Mali and Niger, provided military support without the arrogance of moral superiority. Brazil and South Africa added political diversity and a sense of shared history, a club of survivors, not conquerors. For a man like Traoré, born into a generation that had inherited nothing but broken promises, BRICS wasn't salvation. It was leverage. But leverage is not loyalty. And Traoré knows this. He knows China's Belt and Road left traps in Zambia and Kenya like debt-swollen ports, inflated construction costs, and foreign-controlled infrastructure. He knows that Russia's military presence in Mali, while effective against insurgents, raises long-term questions about autonomy. He understands that BRICS, like any bloc, is composed of rival interests, and that solidarity can fracture under pressure. But that is exactly why Traoré is different. He is not walking into BRICS with the wide-eyed naivete that African leaders once showed to the West. He is walking in with lessons carved into the history of Sankara, Nkrumah, and Lumumba. This is why his foreign policy has been cautious but sharp. Trade with BRICS? Yes, but not at the expense of sovereignty. Military deals? On Burkina Faso terms. Infrastructure financing? Only if it employs locals, strengthens domestic industries, and leaves no strings hidden in footnotes. Before we continue further, tell us, are you enjoying the video? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black Africa. Let's continue now. Ibrahim Traoré's aim is not to replace the West's yoke with a prettier one. His aim is to rewrite the rule book. And can he pull it off? That remains the question. But already, his critics underestimate him, because Traoré isn't trying to survive BRICS. He's trying to shape it. The trap of the past was built from Western steel. The trap of the future might be carved from BRICS marble. But Traoré has no intention of being caged again. And this time, he's not just shouting about sovereignty, he's practicing it. And the West is panicking because of this. From Washington to Paris, what keeps officials up at night isn't the idea of BRICS expanding. It's the terrifying possibility that Burkina Faso might succeed without them. Because if a small landlocked country, bled dry by debt, insurgency, and exploitation, manages to stabilize outside Western control, it will shatter the illusion that Western approval is a prerequisite for African survival. And it's already beginning. Mali and Niger are no longer flinching at sanctions. They are forming trade corridors with Algeria and Turkey. Guinea is openly criticizing ECOWAS and cozying up to Russia. Even Senegal, long considered a bastion of French loyalty, is experiencing a political awakening. Civil society groups are asking questions no one dared to voice before. Why are our resources managed abroad? Why do our leaders answer to Paris before the people? The old empire was built not with walls, but with wires like financial systems, intelligence sharing, soft power, and military training programs. But wires fray. And today, many are snapping. Western diplomats still issue warnings. Western media still peddles fears of Russian puppets and Chinese debt traps. But the magic is fading. The words don't land. The people no longer care. And when the people stop believing, the empire starts to dissolve. What frightens the West isn't armed resistance. It's that word they fear the most, hope. Hope that Africa can write its own future. Hope that prosperity doesn't require permission. Hope that the chains weren't locked, but just never tested. And Traoré? He didn't just test them. He broke them. But defying the empire is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of a much harder one. Burkina Faso may have walked out of the West's prison, but now it walks into a jungle where every alliance is a negotiation and every promise comes with a price tag. BRICS may look better than the West, but it is not innocent. China is a giant with its own dreams. Russia is a chess master, hungry for pieces. India has ambitions in pharmaceuticals, telecom, and influence over the global south. Even South Africa, though a regional ally, has internal struggles that can ripple across deals. To survive here, Traoré must be more than bold. He must be wise. He must negotiate trade terms that don't leave Burkina Faso vulnerable to external extraction. He must manage infrastructure projects that empower, not enslave. He must demand mutual respect, not handshakes hiding knives. And most of all, he must resist the old temptation, trading one master for another. True sovereignty requires more than breaking free. It means building what was never allowed to exist: robust industries, self-reliant agriculture, national banks, regional supply chains, and a political culture that doesn't cave when the next friendly loan arrives with fine print. He must insulate the new Burkina Faso from both the guns of the West and the gold of the East, because one will conquer you openly, and the other might do it smiling. Kwame Nkrumah dreamed of this kind of moment, and he was overthrown for it. Sankara tried to build it, and he was killed for it. Traoré now stands at that same crossroads. If he succeeds, he won't just be remembered as a reformer. He will be remembered as the man who finally taught Africa not just how to stand, but how to stay standing. Now, there is a high alert in France, not because of tanks, but because of something more dangerous: an idea that a poor African country, led by a 36-year-old soldier, could reject the West, embrace a new path, and not only survive, but thrive. That idea is spreading. Across Niger, across Mali, across every country where youth are tired of seeing their futures dictated by men in foreign suits with foreign flags. Burkina Faso has exited the empire's orbit, not quietly, but defiantly. And in doing so, it has redrawn the map of global influence without firing a single shot. This isn't just about BRICS, or about gold, or even about security. It's about the right to say, we are not a project, we are a people. It's about reclaiming not just sovereignty, but dignity. And while the West still clings to its crumbling apparatus, one thing is becoming clear: Traoré didn't start a rebellion. He lit a fire. And if it spreads, the entire world order may burn with it. Do you think Burkina Faso should become a BRICS member? What would France do openly if it knew Burkina Faso had officially applied to join BRICS? In the comment section below, share your thoughts on the fact that Burkina Faso can benefit from BRICS, build infrastructure and access global markets if it balances BRICS and the West at the same time. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We bring videos on Black Africa, its history, rich arts and culture, and things the world should know about. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.